Good morning, everybody. It's Pastor Mike with a word from Psalm 50, verses 12 through 15. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world and its fullness are mine. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer to God a sacrifice of thanksgiving, and perform your vows to the Most High. And call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. I thought about this verse last night when I was at a prayer meeting at church, and every time I think about this verse, it reminds me of a time when my son he had to have been less than 2 years old. He was in the living room, and he was stacking blocks on top of each other, one by one. And because he didn't have a base for his tower, he could only get so many blocks up before they'd fall over. And every time they'd fall over, he would just get so angry, he would just get so mad. And he starts stacking blocks again. And then he'd get them up so high and they'd fall over. And he'd do it again. And he'd get up so high and they'd fall over. And then finally, he stacks his blocks and they rise up and they fall down. And that's all he can take. His eyes swelled up and he lifts his arms to me and he starts crying. And it was awesome. Not that he'd failed routinely at building a tower, but the fact that he'd called out to me for help. He was crying. He wanted someone to comfort him, and he called out to me. This is how God feels when we pray to him. And that's just not my interpretation about how God feels when we pray to him. That's what the verse tells us, that God is honored when we call out to him. He says, call on me in the day of trouble. I will rescue you and you will honor me. What was Christ trying to teach his disciples with the parable of the persistent widow? Keep praying. What is Paul telling us? Pray without ceasing. God is honored when we call out to him. It is glorifying to him that when in our hardest times, no matter how ridiculous it may seem on a human level, but when we are at our wits' end and we call out to God in faith, knowing that he is the one who is going to rescue us, he is the one who's going to fix our fallen towers, God is honored. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that you can pray too much or that you're praying for the wrong things. Prayer in faith is an act of worship, and we should do it as often as possible. So with that, keep praying. Trust that God is still in the business of answering prayer. God bless you all, and we'll talk more later.